Today we thought we would do a little video with some bike checks from last weekend's Moab Rocks.
I had such a chip on my shoulder about short travel bikes.
You are one of the few people who's on a hardtail bike check on Jim's bike.
Hi everyone, if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Thanks for coming back. If you're new here, I'm Syd.
And I am Mackie. A lot of people were interested in what bikes different people were riding. So we asked all the people who we kind of followed through the race. That was Syd's dad, Jim. Fairlee.
Hi, I'm Fairlee Fry.
Brian.
I'm Brian. I have the YouTube channel BKXC.
And then the two of us. And we're just gonna show you guys what bikes we were riding, what bikes they were riding, and
There's a huge range.
There was a
bikes
huge
in
range.
there, and I think it just goes to show that for a race like this, there's a huge range of bikes that are still fun and still good for the course. So if you're thinking of doing an XC race or enduro race, but you don't have like the perfect bike, you know,
It doesn't
that's
matter.
not always the most important thing.
Yeah.
So we'll go through what everybody was riding and why some things are better than other things, and yeah, pros and cons. The bike that I raced this weekend is the 130mm 29-inch wheel Jamis Portal. This bike is a pre-production test frame, so currently not available. Mackie's racing the production frame of the same bike. Mine is a little bit lighter.
Because it is made out of
something different. So I have full XTR 12 speed. So I have a very big cassette, some very easy gears, which I didn't use as much as I thought I was going to be honest, but when I did use them, I was really happy to be using them. Then on the front, a X-Fusion Trace 140mm fork. So this is a pretty beefy bike for a race like this, but it was a lot of fun. We went really fast downhill. So a air shock, when we race these bikes in enduro, we race a coil shock typically. So that was one thing we did to kind of lighten it up for a race like this, put on air shock. And we also did a slightly lighter set of wheels. Got the Victoria Reaction SL wheels, and we also did slightly lighter tires than we do for enduro racing. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that tire. Let's talk about the rear tire. This is the Victoria Mezcal. I really liked this tire. To be honest, when we rode it the first time, I was like, it's like so bendy compared to a dual ply enduro tire that I was like, it's gonna flat, like there's no way. But it was fine. It was great. Obviously rolls really fast, pretty low profile, but I still didn't feel like it was like not enough traction or anything, and like there's some pretty technical stuff on this. So we did run airliners, which probably helped a little bit with not flatting and just a little bit more confidence to like bomb through stuff. So, and then obviously a dropper post. Just because it's an XC race doesn't mean you can't have a dropper post. X-Fusion Manic dropper post. This was a 150mm drop. I have very long legs. I like a lot of dropper post. And Ergon saddle. Definitely an awesome saddle. You definitely want a comfortable saddle for a 3-day cross-country race. So I was very glad to have a saddle that's been working for me and my butt for the past few years. Let's look at the handlebars real quick. This was first race with the 4-piston XTR brakes. Honestly, they could be the Saints. They're just as strong. I couldn't really tell the difference, so that's good, right? They're a lot lighter. Ergon grips and XTR shifter. Have a few questions about the computers that we run on our handlebars. We get this question a lot because obviously that's like what you guys see in the POV footage. So this is the Stages Dash. It is large, but we like it because it's very easy to see, even when you are racing and tired. And there's not like a bajillion buttons or like a touchscreen or any like complicated garbage like that, so that's good. Speedo Baldwin pedals. We often, I think the past few bike checks we've done, we've been using the GFX pedals, but in honor of doing an XC race, we put on the smaller platform, a little bit lighter, still definitely mountain bike pedals. Like there's still definitely enough platform on there that if you're not clipped in right away, you've got like something going for you. The orange I think works nicely with my color scheme as well.
I am also running a Jamis Portal, which is the 29er 130 mil bike. Mine is the production version, so it's aluminum. It's a little bit heavier, but it just rode so well this weekend. It's a very similar build to what Syd was riding, which, as she mentioned, is a little bit different than our usual enduro builds. The main differences are air shock instead of coil shock, lighter wheels and tires, and lighter pedals. And all the XTR stuff is new, so we haven't had that before, but obviously when we are racing enduro, we will be continuing to run the 12-speed XTR stuff. Other differences from Syd's build is that I'm running the Shimano Tharsis 9.8 saddle and Shimano Pro bike gear grips. And the last thing is Syd mentioned the Stages-cycling computer. Normally we run Stages cycling power meters as well, but because the 12-speed XTR is so new, our cranks are at Stages right now having the power meters installed. So that's a new program that they're doing this year. It's called Factory Fit. You can send in your crank to them and have them put a power meter on it. Or instead of buying a crank with the power meter on it, saves you a couple $100. It's really cool because you might as well use your own crank because you don't need an extra crank just sitting around. We're a little embarrassed to admit, but we haven't actually weighed these bicycles, so we don't know how much they weigh. But
because we know that's literally going to be every comment.
It's going to be everyone's question. So in honor of that, right after this, we are going to go to a bike shop and we are going to have it weighed, and then we will put that number right up there so that you guys know how much each of these bikes weighs.
Does it have to go up there?
It could go up there or down there.
Yeah, don't make promises. You don't know where you're going to put it.
That's true. I'm going to put it somewhere on the screen.
I had such a chip on my shoulder about short travel bikes, and then to finally actually ride one on a really tough trail and for it to be flawless as far as I can tell, I was pretty stoked.
So what bike is this?
This is the BMC Agonist, full suspension, 110 travel. I'd have to check the website. But yeah, I've got some Vittoria Barzo tires, which is apparently all of us are riding.
Yeah, everybody's running the Vittorias.
They felt very good. I've got my little Scott fender on here, which makes a terrible crunching sound when you bottom out. And I never bottom out on my big bike, so today it was crunch, crunch. Like, oh, it's okay. It's just the fender making noise. The fender. No big deal. Got a dropper post, which is great. You know, it's kind of the Wuss's full suspension bike, you know, with all the nice bells and whistles. The lockout, the DT Swiss 2-stage lockout, so you can lock out just the fork and then lock out the fork and the shock. Really cool. I used it all on the road climb, but then I didn't touch it at all during the rest of the stuff, where it's like, some of that flat stuff, I probably should have locked out again and got more power out of the bike. I've got the Quark power meter on here. My buddies Pat and Blaine love the power stuff, and they totally talked me into it to know and to just have that data and be more nerdy about it.
Or did you set a new FTP?
I don't know. How do you check that? Anything else cool about this bike? It's SRAM Eagle, of course. Not of course. Some people still, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Hey, Shimano's got 51 teeth now, so watch out.
My 51 tooth.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have, but
Do you have any idea what the bike weighs?
Light as heck.
Okay.
Yes. I used to think that Ibis Ritmo was light, and when I picked this thing up, yeah, I don't know. I would be talking out.
So we don't know what ours are
I think
either.
It's 26, but I don't know if it's
That's light.
That would be light. That's awesome.
sweet.
You can feel it. Give it an estimate, Sydney. She's not that impressed.
Somewhere between 26 and 28, probably.
There you go.
I'd say it's lighter than mine for sure.
You are one of the few people who's on a hardtail for this race.
Yes, one of the few smart people.
What
Do
are
we call
your-
that smart?
Do we call that
That's
smart?
like, what is it? If you're gonna be stupid, you gotta be tough.
That's right. That's right. So would you say in hindsight, perhaps you would have chosen a different bicycle? Or were you like...
In terms of racing, yes.
Okay.
In terms of skills, this was perfect.
Okay.
So but in terms of doing this race and racing it, yes, I would probably bring suspension. I would definitely bring suspension.
No question.
No question, no question.
Well, tell us about your bicycle.
My bicycle is a Pivotless 29. It is fast.
It is fast. It weighs almost nothing. I picked it up.
We are set up with a nice KMC SL, super light little chain there.
Nice.
Yep,
and
some gold bling.
XTR DI2. Nice.
Most importantly for survival this weekend is the KS Lev CI dropper post.
Ah, yes, dropper post.
And added 0 weight and got me out of many pickles. I have to credit like having my life right now to that post. So thank you.
I would like the, I enjoy the color matching. Good grip,
Thank you.
matching
Yes,
the blue, matching even this little guy.
Isn't that just disgusting?
And I don't know if you noticed, but your glasses that you're currently wearing also match. So,
Guess
and your water bottle, I mean, matchy. Bike check on Jim's bike. Tell us about your bike, Jim.
This is a Pivot 429er that I got when you used to ride for Pivot.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day, and I haven't ridden anything I like as much as this. Although I did like the Portal on the downhill course. That was a lot of fun. It's pretty much a Shimano setup. You know, it's a 2x, which I like a whole bunch. It's pretty well used. It's carbon fiber, so it gives me a nice blend of downhill capabilities and cross-country speed. So it's a really nice machine.
What'd you think of it for this weekend?
It was killer. I let it down, if anything. Really, it was sailing me through just about everything. I bottomed out. I blew the little gasket right off the back end of it yesterday, and had a couple rough drops that would have been nicer if I'd been a little bit gentler.
Yeah.
On the poor machine. But otherwise, man, it just rocked.
That's
really,
awesome.
Really nice.
What tires do you choose?
I'm running the Maxxis, and mostly because it's what I've always run. And the main reason I run them is they're the Ardents, and they have a pretty good grip, and they put out most everything but clay. Once they fill up with clay, they're useless. Like everything
As
else.
most tires, yeah.
Most tires are.
I noticed you also have a mud guard on there.
Yes, that's your a gift.
I
from
remember
you
that.
guys.
That's from EWS.
I had one of the first mud guards in Southern Ohio.
Yeah.
People were like, "Tweed love."
Yeah. What was that? Just because it was on there? Did you put it on there specifically for the event, or?
No, I run with it all the time, year round. So it's pretty much it stays on there. And there were a couple muddy sections this time.
Yeah.
I was glad they were
blizzard.
Yeah, it definitely saves the shock stanchions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with it. And it never is in the way. I've never had so much glob up on it that it stopped me.
Well, there you guys have it. Those are the bikes that Jim, Fairlee, Brian, and the two of us rode. And as you guys kind of heard, especially from Fairlee, I'm not sure a 29er hardtail or hardtail in general is really the right bike for these trails.
No. Moab's really rough, so I think you're gonna have more fun on a bike with full suspension.
Yeah, it seemed like she got pretty beat up, so I guess I would say a small to mid travel, small travel if you are racing, mid travel if you just want to come out and have fun at Moab, is probably the best bike for you. So full suspension. 29 is nice because it rolls over things really well, and like
there are a lot of holes
a
here.
lot of holes and a lot of bumps, and things are just really rough. So something that rolls well, something that's got a little bit more suspension front and rear is going to make your time here in Moab a lot more enjoyable.
Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate the video and think we're full of shit, leave a comment, because that really improves our analytics, and just doing us a favor. So
you can give it a thumbs up anyway. All right, thanks guys. We will see you next time.